The story begins with a group of kids dreaming of becoming treasure hunters, aiming to achieve riches and glory. They all agree wholeheartedly, even the kid dressed like a cardboard box, and they vow to become the greatest heroes in the world. Treasure hunters travel the world to explore ruins known as treasure vaults, to collect relics hidden inside. They risk their lives fighting monsters called phantoms, but in return can gain immense wealth and prestige. A highly regarded clan is holding interviews for potential new members, and our protagonist, Cry, waits in line. Since it's difficult to progress as a solo hunter, it's crucial to join a party if one hopes to reach great heights. A girl named Ruda introduces herself to Cry because he's the only one around who doesn't look creepy, but Cry awkwardly doesn't shake her hand. Ruda wants to join a party because she's been struggling with a certain treasure vault. However, a guy mocks her for trying to join while being only level 3. Ruda is offended when he calls her an amateur, but he points out that she's not experienced enough to join the renowned First Steps clan. He rudely suggests she run back to her mother. Angered, Ruda challenges him to a fight. Fortunately, the argument is broken up, and Cry is relieved that the commotion is over. Inside, Ruda is overwhelmed by the number of hunters trying to join the First Steps clan, and she's shocked to learn that this is Cry's 5th time attending these interviews. For hunters, skill is everything. Those with talent can quickly make a name for themselves and rise through the ranks, while those without must grasp at whatever opportunities they get. The First Steps clan is composed of several parties, with Arc Brave being the strongest among them. Arc Brave recently completed a level 7 treasure vault with just 6 members. Their leader, Arc Roden, has a reputation for guaranteeing success for anyone he accepts into his party. However, Cry knows that Arc Brave has never accepted a new member through these interviews, and their table is crowded with hopeful interviewees. Ruda notices another table with just one empty chair. A big guy named Greg suddenly appears and explains that the table belongs to the party that originally founded the First Steps clan, known as the Grievers. They came to the capital years ago with their extraordinary talents, quickly establishing themselves as one of the top parties. Their full name is the Grieving Souls, and they happen to be Cry's childhood friends. This is the first time the Grievers are accepting new members, which explains why so many people have shown up for the event. However, with no one at the table, it seems like this might have just been a false rumor. A red-headed kid steps forward, declaring he has no time for losers and demanding to know where the Grievers are. He boasts about being level 4 and was planning to allow the strongest party in the capital to recruit him. A girl named Tino is stopped from putting the arrogant kid in his place, who wants to prove herself worthy of joining the Grieving Souls. Crowd starts to antagonize them, creating space for a fight. Tino is eager to engage, but Cry is concerned, and he tells Ruda to come outside with him. The redhead continues trash-talking, but Tino plans to hear him out only after chopping off his head. As Cry makes his exit, he regrets coming to the event. Just as the anticipation for the fight peaks, Tino senses something that pulls her attention away. Tino surprises everyone by rushing towards Cry and calling him Master. It turns out Cry is actually the leader of the First Steps clan and the head of the Grieving Souls. The entire clan was waiting for him to get started, and everyone is shocked to discover his true identity. In this golden age of treasure hunters, one man stands above them all: Cry. Years earlier, Cry and his friends arrived at the capital. They were beginners, but they cleared treasure vaults meant for novices at record speeds. On one occasion, Cry was saved by his friend, who assumed Cry was just acting as bait. Cry and his friends shared the same dream of becoming great hunters, but their abilities were far from equal. His 5 friends were incredibly gifted, while Cry considered himself exceedingly ordinary compared to them. Realizing he would only hold them back, Cry decided to leave their group. However, to his surprise, his friends insisted that he become their leader. They were all in complete agreement, and Cry wondered if they even listened to what he said. His fate was sealed, and for the past 4 years he had been leading his gifted friends, secretly wishing he could retire from being a hunter. Back in the present, Ruda can't believe she was casually talking to the clan master of the First Steps. Cry was extremely late to the interview because he overslept, but Arc thinks he's joking. Tino tells Arc to leave Cry alone, accusing him of being superficial, but Arc thinks she's joking as well. Arc gives Cry credit for diligently scouting the crowd, believing Cry went undercover without his uniform, but Cry insists he simply overslept. Tino, fed up with Arc, demands that he be removed from the clan, but since Arc is the leader of Arc Brave, that isn't possible. Tino is a solo hunter affiliated with the First Steps, and she's an apprentice to Cry's childhood friend, Liz. Cry says that there isn't room for new members in the Grieving Souls, but he gets an idea. He asks if Arc Brave would take a new member if he recommended one. Ark, trusting Cry completely, agrees, shocking everyone in the room. As Ark Brave rarely accepts new members, Tino assumes that Cry is recommending her, so she is extremely grateful. She's distracted when the red-headed kid, Gilbert, returns, wanting revenge. Cry tells everyone to leave him alone. Gilbert introduces himself, and Cry is surprised to hear he's in a party, even though he's only level 4. Cry can tell that Gilbert isn't currently an asset, but he believes the boy has potential, especially with training from Ark and the others. However, Cry is notoriously bad at judging people, so whoever he picks to join Ark Brave is essentially chosen by luck. To everyone's shock, Cry decides to recommend Gilbert, but on one condition. He explains that the most important thing for a hunter is not to lose, as being weak only endangers their party. Cry informs Gilbert that if he wants to join Ark Brave, he must prove that he won't lose. He warns Gilbert, with a confident smile, that he has never lost a single time since becoming a hunter. The crowd is amazed at Cry's confidence, but what they don't know is that Cry's undefeated record is only because he's never actually fought anyone directly. Even now, Cry has no intention of fighting. Instead, he adds a twist to the challenge. He announces that whoever ends up with his ring will be the one he recommends to join Ark Brave. To start the madness, Cry hands the ring to Gilbert, prompting chaos. Tino immediately kicks Gilbert in the face, sending the ring flying from his hands as the crowd wonders if he's even still conscious. Pandemonium erupts as everyone scrambles to get the ring. Cry tells the crowd that the ring is actually a relic they can keep if they manage to grab it, adding even more excitement to the chaos. With the crowd distracted, Cry says goodbye to Ruta and walks away, deciding it's time to head home. The next day, Cry learns he has made the front page news for starting a huge brawl, which ultimately ended in the entire venue being destroyed. Ava, the Vice Clan Master, informs him of the situation, and to make matters worse, his disguise relic, Irreversible Face, which allows its user to take on any face, was broken in the chaos, so Cry reluctantly decides to visit the Explorers Association. At the association, Cry apologizes profusely for causing such an uproar. Gar, the branch manager, tries to calm him down, but Cry continues to plead his case, emphasizing that no civilians were hurt. Gar's assistant wishes he wouldn't be so harsh, but Gar points out that he hasn't even said anything yet. Gar explains that while there have been no formal complaints, as the leader of First Steps, Cry still needs to set an example for other hunters, and he can't simply let him go without consequences. Gar mentions that the association receives many jobs, some of which offer little payment, while others are so challenging that nobody wants to take them. Hunters often call these difficult jobs chores. As punishment, Gar assigns Cry one of these chores. As he browses through the list of chores, he aims to find an easy one that he can pass on to Ark. He eventually settles on one called Corpse Retrieval Duty, though Gar's assistant quickly corrects him. It's actually a rescue mission, and she wishes he wouldn't joke about it. After leaving, Gar is impressed with Cry's choice, unaware that Cry picked what he thought was the easiest task. Back at the clan house, Cry is surprised to learn that everyone else in the clan is busy with other tasks. Tino reveals that she ended up with his ring, as she didn't want anyone else to get their hands on it, and she's happy to hear she can keep it. Cry then asks if she's free, and Tino eagerly responds that she's never been more free in her life, clearly expecting him to ask her out on a date. Instead, Cry tells her about the chore he wants her to do. Tino tries to flee, but Cry uses his hounding chain to capture her. Tino is crushed. She had hoped Cry would take her out for ice cream, but instead, he has assigned her a terrible chore. Even worse, Tino is just a level 4, and rescuing 5 people is far beyond her abilities. She knows that Cry tends to send his subordinates on dangerous missions to help them grow stronger, but she pleads with him not to push the Spartan training too far. Cry agrees, saying she shouldn't go alone. Tino feels a glimmer of hope, assuming that Cry will accompany her, only to be disappointed when she learns that he's teamed her up with the hunters he met earlier. But for today, our video ends right here, so stay tuned to watch the next part of the video. Until then, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates.